Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We've actually got out our zero-turn mower, and today we're going to change the spindles. If you look at the blade that I have here, this is a proprietary blade size. You can see it has essentially an S pattern in the middle from MTD. The blades have about 30 hours on them, so you can see the notch here. This was not there when we first got the mower. The challenge we're having is these are not available everywhere. And also, I don't believe that these are hardened, and I think we can do a whole lot better. We're going to show you how to do that next. Okay, if you look at the two blades, this is the replacement blade. You can see the thickness versus the thickness here. Now, granted, this is an ultra high lift blade. I don't necessarily need that, but what I am needing is something that's more universal. The star you can find virtually anywhere. So how do we solve for that? Well, what we do is we replace the spindles. Some of you may think, well, that's actually going to be super expensive. Believe it or not, it's not. It's about $40 more for all spindles and the blades than it is to just buy the OEM set of 3 blades. This is a 50-inch mower. So let's take a look at what we have to do. What I have done, first off, is I have taken the spark plugs off the motor. That way it doesn't start. I've also disengaged the brakes because I'm going to put it up on our jack. Let's look at the spindles. So I've removed the bolt covering the access here, and I'll remove the access panel. We'll set that aside. And on top of this mower, it says it has 3 blades, there's 3 spindles. This is one right here. What I've done off camera is I've removed the belt from the PTO in the back, and you can actually do that by putting a handheld wrench here and pulling it back that way while you have a friend unhook it from the PTO. And that allows me to get access to remove the belt. So it's pretty straightforward. You have 3 of them. You have one located under here, one located under here, and then the center one. Now what I've done is I went ahead and removed this first one so I could show you underside. Okay, here's the Cub Cadet spindle. You can see that it has that proprietary S shape that matched the blade that we looked at a moment ago. And in addition to that, you see that there are no grease fittings. So this is a non-serviceable unit. I went online, and I'll leave the link to the description and the part number for these specific spindles in the description in case you're interested in getting a set for yourself. This particular model has the grease fitting, and if I look, it's identical. Same height, same size pulley. Now here's the challenge. When you look at the part number for the OEM spindle, there's not a direct replacement that's available. And because what's happening is the manufacturers are wanting to make one that has that S fitting. That's what we're trying to avoid. On the end of this one, it's the star. And so what I've done is I've just measured them and picked the one that matches. And again, I'll leave that part number for you down in the description. So all we have to do is replace the factory OEM spindle with the ones that we purchased. We're going to make sure that this grease fitting is pointed to the front. We'll set it in like that. There's 4 screws that affix from the bottom. We'll reroute the belt, mount the blades, and then we're done. So let's go ahead, jack the mower up, and get started. Okay, let's move to the underside, take the blades off, and then undo the spindles. Okay, so if you look under here, here's the blade. That's the spindle that we showed you from the top. Now what we need to do is take the blades off. This is a 15/16 nut on this one. We'll take the blade off, and then there's 4 screws, or 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take those out. And then all we have to do is reverse the process once we have all 3 of them out. Put the belt on, we're done. Make sure that's pointed toward the front. Over to the other side here. Do the same. Okay. The kit also includes new bolts. So we're going to get the new bolts. We'll reverse the process that you just saw. Tighten everything up. Put the belt on. We'll fire it up. So I'm taking my hand and making sure that everything's all lined up here. And I'm going to hand start all of these. It just goes right through the deck into the threaded hole in the bottom of the spindle. Okay, so on the blade, it says grass side. So that means the grass side needs to come down this way. We'll line it up with the star pattern. We'll reinstall the bolts that we had on there before. Unfortunately, this kit does not come with the bolts. And then there's a washer. So it's a washer and then the bolt. Get that hand started here. Make sure it's seated. There we go. Clearance is good all around. Let's tighten it. A couple of taps of the impact wrench. And we'll repeat that for the other two. Then we'll go up top, put the belt on. Okay, so now what we need to do is just put the belt back on, and then we'll put it on the PTO in the back. And then in order to move the tensioner, what I've done is on this particular one, I've got a 9/16 wrench. Put my socket like that, and if you pull it, you can see you get a lot of leverage that allows you to move it, and you can get it back on that very back pulley. That's always seems to be the hardest. So I've got a helper in the back. I'm just going to move this so it gets on the PTO. Then we'll release that tension. Now it's retensed. Just going to double check my belt here. Have it in all the right spots. On this particular model, there's a belt diagram that's underneath the seat, so I've double checked that. The other thing is, you can see when this was flat, of course it's the flat side of the belt, and with this being a notch, the notch side's there. Looks like we're good there. Good over here too. Okay, so what we need to do now is we'll put the covers back over this side, the other side, and then we'll grease the fittings on each one of the spindles, and then we'll wrap up. All right, and there you have it. We've completed the spindle replacement. That took care of our problem that we had with the proprietary S shape on the blades. We now have some tempered blades on there by a company called 810. We also replaced 3 of the spindles. We greased them all, so they are serviceable. I'll leave the link in the description below. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out. Let's give it a start here as we end this video. Give it a try on the lawn. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.